Hi, I'm Marty Nemko, and this is from yesterday's Wall Street Journal. It's called All the News That's Suddenly Fit to Print After the Election by Jason Riley. News stories on the New York Times website include this postscript. When we learn of a mistake, we acknowledge it with a correction. If you spot an error, please let us know, end quote. It's hard not to chuckle at this faux humility. The Gray Lady's political coverage has been due for a major course correction, at least since Donald Trump's shocking victory in 2016. So far, that hasn't happened. The paper has long leaned left, and Republicans have come to expect less friendly treatment than what Democrats receive. Still, balanced and straightforward reporting has become more an afterthought in the Trump era. Even following his re-election last month, which included winning the popular vote, the Times and other major news outlets remain stuck in resistance mode. The goal seems to be to take down the incoming administration, not to cover it. This phenomenon can manifest itself in what the press chooses to highlight, as well as what it chooses to minimize or ignore. There were innumerable stories about Mr. Trump's supposed ties to Russia, which turned out to be non-existent, but next to no interest in former FBI and CIA agents spreading disinformation, about Hunter Biden's laptop. Joe Biden had to showcase his cognitive decline in a nationally televised presidential debate before most press outlets deigned to give the story the attention it deserved. Democratic efforts to bankrupt Mr. Trump, keep him off the ballot, and put him in prison were portrayed by reporters as politics as usual, when in fact they were an unprecedented manipulation of the legal system to destroy a political opponent. What drove the media's interest or non-interest in these stories had little to do with their intrinsic newsworthiness, and almost everything to do with whether the stories hurt Mr. Trump and helped his adversaries. The political press continues to assume the public doesn't notice. Take last week's front page story in the New York Times, highlighting the extraordinary levels of illegal immigration over the past 4 years. Under a headline, "Recent stream of immigrants is largest ever," end quote. We are made aware that the pace of arrivals exceeds, quote, any other period on record, including the peak years of Ellis Island traffic, when millions of Europeans came to the United States. We're told that around, quote, 60% of immigrants who have entered the country since 2021 have done so without legal authorization. And we're informed, that was end quote, and we're informed that while unrest in Haiti, via Venezuela, Ukraine, and other places has contributed to the migrant inflow, quote, the Biden administration's policy appears to be the biggest factor, end quote. There was nothing wrong with the story's content, but the post-election timing makes you wonder. 5 weeks after an election in which illegal immigration was foremost in the minds of many voters, the Times now allows that the current administration's tax border security policies, not turmoil abroad, were the main driver of the worst migrant crisis in U.S. history. It's a story that might have been written dozens of times over the past year, but wasn't, because doing so would have helped Mr. Trump advance his signature issue and harmed his political opponents. This is what happens when the press is more interested in shaping public opinion, that is, winning elections, than in reporting the facts. It happens a lot these days. The gambit failed, and Kamala Harris lost. Possibly, the press was one of the reasons she lost. The, quote, over-the-top displays of partisan bias by the media during this election cycle may have helped Trump get elected, end quote, wrote Commentary magazine media columnist Christine Rosen. Quote, this might be the first national election in which media bias proved fatal not for its intended target, but rather for the media themselves and their preferred political party, the Democrats. Unable to identify their own liabilities, they suffocated inside their own partisan bubble. To address its liabilities, the press would have to acknowledge that it has some, and fat chance that'll happen. Like Mr. Biden, who insisted that the migrant surge was seasonal, the elite media is in denial. And like liberal Democrats broadly, too many in the media see themselves as operating on a higher plane of consciousness when assessing the issues of the day. If their top concerns aren't shared by most voters, then it's the voters who have the problem. Thus, people who want tighter borders are xenophobic. People who don't want to ban fossil fuels are climate deniers. People concerned about public safety are racist. And if you're a male voter who didn't cast a ballot for Miss Harris, you're obviously sexist. When mainstream media outlets consider half of the country to be not only in error, but in sin, journalism has a problem. And it's a problem unlikely to be solved over the next 4 years. In any event, that is from the Wall Street Journal yesterday, all the news that suddenly fit to print after the election by Jason Riley. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel, and certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 34 books. For example, most relevant might be A Dose of Reality. But in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.